to remind you to please check the attendance sheet. UP NISMED is the University of the Philippines National Institution Development. It was founded in 1964. Its goal is to contribute to raising the level of science and mathematics education in the country through research, curriculum development, teacher professional development, and extension, as well as public education. The role of UP NISMED in the K-12 basic education program. NISMED developed the K-12 science curriculum guide. The grade 7 and 8 learners modules and teachers guides were written mostly by NISMED specialists. As a result, NISMED likewise designed and conducted the training of trainers for both grades. Currently, NISMED continues to serve as consultant in the K-12 science. I would like to introduce you also to Kasama Teachers. Among NISMED's initiatives is Kasama Teachers, a community of Filipino science and mathematics educators. As you already know, membership here is free. Kasama Teachers supports NISMED's. There are discussion threads on K-12 science. You can also find links to the learners modules and teachers guides and download the latest DepEd issuances on the K-12 program. What is the K-12 Science webinar series? Since UP NISMED cannot train all grade 7 and 8 teachers in science, technology can reach many of our teachers. Hence, we are offering this webinar series. The webinars are free and are aimed to support teachers, schools, divisions in the implementation of the K-12 science curriculum reform. NISMED has partnered with Education for free use of the webinar platform. Participation in the webinar, in the live webinar, is easy. Teachers just go to the webinar site every 4th Friday at p.m. Even if you miss a webinar, the recorded webinar as well as the presentations and documents are all accessible in Kasama Teachers. The discussions and sharings of practices also continue in Kasama Teachers. So welcome to the UP NISMED webinar series on the K-12 science. This is webinar number 10. Today's webinar is the third webinar for grade 8 science and focuses on Unit 2 on the topic Earth and Space. We started the grade 8 series with one webinar in June and another in July, both of which were about Unit 1, Force, Motion, and Energy. All Unit 1 writers from NISMED and the Philippine Normal University were our resource persons. Today, our persons are the science education specialists from NISMED who wrote the 3 modules that comprise Unit 2. Their goal is to help prepare for your class in 3 ways. First, they will highlight the spiraling of a given concept across grade levels to show you how the concept takes off from what students learned in grade 7. Next, they will explain the science concepts in each learning activity. This is much like having exclusive lectures in geology, meteorology, and astronomy. And finally, they will direct you to additional resources that you can use to learn more about the concepts and as resources for teaching. So get ready, because we are about to embark on another exciting learning experience. We expect you to actively participate by responding prompts from our presenters, asking questions and interacting with other attendees using the chat facility. So here is our agenda for today. Kindly read them. So we have about an hour for the presentations and 10 minutes for your questions and comments. Get ready now. Mr. Elio Obilia Jr. of MISMED's High School Earth Science Group. Degrees in Geology at the College of Science here in UP Diliman. Before joining MISMED in 2004, June was connected with the National Institute of Geological Sciences, or NIGS, where he served for several years in various capacities as research assistant, teaching assistant, and instructor. June is currently the chair of MISMED's Earth Science Group. June was involved in the development of the K-12 Science Curriculum Guide from grades 3 to 10 and has written most of the fourth quarter modules in the grade 7 Science Learners material. He also wrote 2 modules for grade 8. So today, there's no better person to walk us through the geology, meteorology, and astronomy contents in grade 8. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. June Obilie. June?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Naririnig mo ba ako?
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you. Okay, yes, June.
Okay, so simulan na tayo. Right, so the first module, as you can see on your screen, is Module 1, Earthquakes and Faults. Ano ba gagalawin to? Yon. Okay, so
It's the
those of you who are grade 7 teachers, you probably know already that there are 3 modules. No? There are 3 modules. From grade 3 to grade 10, there are always 3 modules. And the modules are the geology module, meteorology module, and the astronomy module. In grade 8, the geology module will focus on faults and earthquakes. The meteorology module will focus on typhoons. And the astronomy module will focus on comets, meteors, and asteroids. And here are the topics. So, the first module on geology, we will talk about faults and about earthquakes. And soon you will know why these two, why we are going to take up these two. The topics in meteorology, well, actually, it's just typhoons, how typhoons develop, and how typhoons move, and where typhoons form, and so on. And finally, in astronomy, the topics are, as you can see, there are 3. This is a very short module. The module will tackle comets, meteors, and asteroids. The longest module here will be the first one on geology, and meteorology and astronomy is the shortest module. So when you teach this in Unit 2, you will have to estimate the amount of time that you need so that you won't run out of time. No? Okay, so let me talk about the storyline for the first module. Okay, in grade 7 or last year, what we talked about was, we talked about the location of the Philippines near the equator, and this has something to do with the climate of the Philippines, no? And then the location of the country along the Ring of Fire, and this has something to do with our topic for today, no? What is the consequence of the Philippines being located along the Ring of Fire? That's in grade, but this is the topic in grade 7. In this year, grade 8, we now jump off from the location of the Philippines along the Ring of Fire. So what if the Philippines is along the Ring of Fire? Well, that means that the Philippines is prone to earthquakes. So all countries that are located along the Ring of Fire experience earthquakes. So in grade 8, we will find out why. And then we will find out how earthquakes are generated by faults, no? And we will look at maps to show which faults are close to your region, your city, and your town, your barangay, no? And then in grade 9 next year, we will talk about another consequence of being located along the Ring of Fire, no? Aside from experiencing earthquakes, because the Philippines is located along the Ring of Fire, we also experience volcanic eruptions. So next year, we will talk about what happens when volcanoes erupt. We will look at the classification of volcanoes, what are the different types, and then we will look at the indicators that tell us if a volcano is active or not. And then we will also talk about, is there a good thing that we can get from volcanoes? And as you can see here, that we can tap the energy from volcanoes for our use. So this is the storyline for geology. So right here, well, I made a mistake there. Well, anyway, we're supposed to ask you this question. So, guys, there's a question on your screen right now. And the question is, what causes earthquakes? And maybe with 1 or 2 sentences, you can answer this question. So, this is just a survey question to tell me where you are in terms of, in relation to the earthquakes topic. So, everybody who's attending this webinar, please answer the question on your screen. The question is, what causes earthquakes? Okay, what causes earthquakes? So, please type in your answers now.
Yes, please type in your answers. Okay, there are 3
Mukhang the first 3 answers, first 4 answers tells me that you have read the module already. That's good. Okay, so let me see. Many of the answers are, we have 9 answers on the board. Mabibilis mag-react ng mga participants natin.
Please mag-type.
Okay. Oo. So, all right. So most of the answers are earthquakes are caused by movement along faults. So tama lahat yung sagot na yan, ano? Yung mga ibang sagot ay movement of plates. So, tama din yon, except that in grade 8, hindi pa natin pag-uusapan yung plates. we will talk about that in grade 10. So, we want to be a little bit local muna. So, we'll talk about faults. No? Later on, in grade 10, no? The year after next, we will talk about yung global na. No? So, plates na yon. Right. So, the main idea in grade 8 is that pag nagkakaroon ng biglang paggalaw sa faults, when there is sudden movement ang faults, earthquakes are generated. And if the fault is underwater, like for example at the seafloor, at gumalaw yung fault under the sea, pwedeng magkaroon din ng tsunami. Okay? So, magsisimula na tayo sa Module 1. Pag ituturo nyo itong Module 1 na to, magandang magsimula muna. Ako, personally, I start with mga pictures na galing sa internet, pictures na galing sa newspapers. So you can see on your screen, here's a newspaper, the Philippine Star, and the headline is Intensity 8 Quake Jolts Luzon, 201 die. So makikita nila na you can introduce a lot of things just by showing a newspaper like this. Like you can talk about intensity, what does it mean. You can talk about it later, no? Hindi kailangan kagad define yan. And then, ilan yung, ano ibig sabihin ng 8, diba? Ilan ang namatay, ganyan. School children killed, sabi dito. So, ibig sabihin na very relevant sa buhay ng mga estudyante ito, no? So, classes suspended, no? So, importante talagang pag-usapan ng earthquakes. Not only because it occurs often in the Philippines, but also because maapektuhan talaga ang buhay natin, no? It's not something that we just watch, gano'n, na dumadaan lang, no? Kundi apektado talaga tayo. Then I also like to start the lesson by showing a picture. You can see at the right-hand side of your screen a picture of a hotel in Baguio City. This is the Hyatt Terraces Hotel at nag-collapse siya, no? So again, napakadaling i-hook yung interest ng klase if you start with something that they can see. Hindi lang yung kwento lang, words, kundi something na visual na medyo nakaka-unsettle, no? Although hindi mo namang sinasadyang takutin sila, pero iba ang tama if you show pictures, no? Okay. And then after that, I usually show a map of the world, and then I also check their knowledge of geography. Like I ask them, so what does the blue part represent? So those are the oceans. What does the white part represent? Ganyan. So these are white parts represent. So these are the continents. Ganyan. So they ask them to identify the continents, North America, South America, and so on. And then you tell them that all these black dots are places where earthquakes have occurred, no? So lahat ng mga dot na to ay dito nangyayari ang mga earthquake from 1963 to 1998, no? For a total of more than 300,000 events. So ibig sabihin, earthquakes occur all over the world, but if you look at this picture carefully, tanungin mo sila, what do you notice, no? At huwag niyong ibigay ang sagot, and you guide them into observing that earthquakes occur repeatedly in certain areas, no? There are areas where earthquakes are few. There are areas where earthquakes rarely occur, no? Like in this case, in this place in Africa, and this place in South America, or this place in Northern Asia. But there are places where earthquakes repeatedly occur, and these are the places where the dots are on top of each other. So you have a black area, black zone. So yan yun, ano? So itong area na yan. At yung area na to, that's the ring of fire, no? starting from New Zealand, passing to the Philippines, Japan, up the Kuril Islands, and then going to the Aleutian Islands, Alaska, to the western part of the United States, to Central America, and the western part of South America. And then from Indonesia, it goes to the Himalayas, and then in the Mediterranean. So these are the places where earthquakes repeatedly occur. So bakit kaya? So the question is why? And the answer is, you do not give them the answer actually. Okay? You don't give them the answer. What you do is you do the first activity. The first activity is titled a faulty setup. Okay? So what you do is you get some sand and you pour the sand on two cardboard sheets. So merong isang cardboard dito, may isang cardboard dito, and you place them side by side. And then you pour some sand on top and then flatten the surface of the sand. And then you put two lines there, and the lines are just just to show you. These are reference lines. So you watch out what happens to these reference lines. No? And then if you look at these two arrows here, that means that this cardboard will be moved in that direction to the right, and this board is moved to the left. And then what happens, okay? And of course, again, you do not tell the students what happens. Let them do it and let them find out for themselves. And they will see that the sand will develop a crack. And of course, the two lines that you have there will be displaced, okay? And then you have this crack here, okay? So, afterwards, you show this picture here on the right. And then you say that this road here is represented in their activity by these two lines here. And that road there is represented by those two lines there. And so they compare, no? They compare what happened in the activity and what happened in this road, okay? And they can immediately see that there's a crack there, and that's analogous, that represents the crack here. And the road has been displaced, and the lines have also been displaced. And you tell them that this is a fault. Okay? So now they know what a fault is, and then you can ask them, can you define a fault based on what you see? And then the expected answer is that a fault is a crack or a crack in the ground along which movement has taken place. Okay? So, as you noticed, we did not provide any definition, and we did not tell them any answers. We did not provide them with answers. We asked them to conduct an activity. They make their own observations and they make their own definitions. Okay. So in activity 1, we show them what a fault is like, okay, and what happens when a fault moves. Okay. So that's the first activity. In the second activity, we want to show what happens, what are the other consequences, ano? Besides na pag gumalaw yung fault ay certain things get displaced, no? In the activity, ang na-displace yung dalawang lines. In real life, kung ano-anong nadi-displace, no? Kalsada, tulay, at kung ano-ano pa nadi-displace. But what is there another result, another consequence of the sudden movement along a fault? So here in activity 2, we have we have an activity called stick and slip. No? Okay. As you can see here, we have two boxes. These are boxes of fruit juice drinks. No? Kapag makita kayong mga pinagtapunan ng na pinaglagyan ng fruit juice, kuha kayo ng dalawa nun. No? Pwede nyong takpan ng colored paper para maganda tignan. And then put a paper clip here. Okay, put a paper clip and then put a maglagay ng rubber band. Okay? Tapos lalagyan dito ng lalagyan ng masking tape. Tapos maglagay ka ng toy na house doon. The toy house tells you that you are trying to represent the surface of the earth with these two boxes. So kung may bahay doon, may isip nila na tatanungin mo, ano nga na-represent ng surface ng box? And they will say, it represents the ground. So, kasi nakita nila may bahay doon. Okay. Saka na natin ipapaliwanag kung bakit mayroong masking tape dito. So, you hold on to one box and then with your other hand, you pull on the rubber band. So, hindi gagalaw itong box, masking tape. Pero sa kapupul mo siya, or the students, as the students pull on the rubber band, pag sobra ng pagkapul, okay, the masking tape is, natatanggal yung masking tape, biglang matatanggal, and this box will jerk forward, no? This box will jerk forward. And you will see that the toy house, will collapse to the ground, no? So, tatanungin natin, anong nangyari? Okay, so, the students pull on the rubber band, the box does not move yet because of the masking tape, and then it will suddenly jerk because the masking tape comes off. And then, so, we ask the students, anong nangyari? Magpakwento tayo. And they will tell us na, nung una, hindi gumagalaw yung box, and then suddenly, gumalaw yung box. And this, sasabihin na natin in the end na, and this is what happens in an earthquake, no? In an earthquake, there is a force underground, merong force inside the earth, no? At ginagalaw niya yung surface ng earth. Pero hindi yung gumagalaw agad, kasi may strength yung bato. Yung bato ay hindi siya gagalaw kagad dahil yung bato ay buo pa. Or kung meron may dati ng fault doon, ay may friction, ano? So, hindi gagalaw yung bato kasi may friction, ano? So, yun yung role ng masking tape. Pero, pag sobra-sobra na yung force, pag sobra-sobra na yung force, yung friction ay bibigay na, no? Matatalo na yung friction. Or, the strength of the rock is overcome by the force. So, the rock suddenly breaks, okay, and the rock suddenly moves, and this sudden movement will produce the jerking motion that generates an earthquake. So, yung biglaang paggalaw sa fault, yan ang dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon ng earthquake. Now, there is a limitation of this activity. Anong limitation niya? The limitation is, hindi naman nagsha-shake yung bato. Okay? It does not shake. So, this activity only shows one thing. What is that? That there is a sudden movement. No? May bigla ang paggalaw. That's what this activity shows. O paano natin may papakita na merong shaking? Okay? Shaking will be shown in the next activity. At ang activity 3, ang pangalan ay stick and shake. So, yung kanina ay stick and slip. No? So, hindi mo nagagalaw, tas biglang gagalaw. Dito naman, stick and shake. Hindi mo nagagalaw, tas biglang magva-vibrate. No? Paano nangyayari to? You get two rulers, plastic rulers, and you stick them together at their ends with clay. Okay? And then afterwards, you move one end in this direction as shown by the arrow, and you move the other end in this direction. So, one away from you and one towards you. So, what happens is that the plastic rulers will bend. It will bend. No? Okay. So, Ano ang rene-represent nito? Sa tunay na buhay, yung dito titignan natin sa lower illustrations, no? In A, the rocks are in their original position. So, wala pang force. Pero pag may force na, yung the ground bends, no? Nagbe-bend na rin, no? So, yun yung rene-represent ng second illustration. Okay, so yun yung bending ng ating plastic ruler, that represents what happens when the ground also bends due to forces within the earth. Now, this bending in this illustration is exaggerated. Hindi talaga natin nakikita tong ganitong bending kasi it occurs over a wide area. So, pero masusukat ito kung maglalagay tayo ng mga equipment. Okay? And then, later on, as you bend the ruler, yung clay sa gitna ay mahihiwalay. So, one ruler will go in one direction and the other ruler will go in the other direction. And in so doing, the ruler will vibrate. And that's exactly what happens, no? When the rocks break on the ground, no? So, the rocks are bending and bending, and then suddenly when the rocks break, they shake, no? There's a breaking and shaking, okay? So, it's the same thing that happens when the rulers separate. When the rulers separate, okay, they shake or they vibrate. And so, the vibration of the rulers simulate, no, represent the vibration of the ground when the rocks move along a fault, no? Okay, so activity 2 and activity 3 are done one after the other to show that earthquakes occur when there is a sudden movement of rocks along a fault and there is a shaking that follows this sudden movement. Okay? Another important thing to emphasize is that during the bending of rocks, energy is stored. And during the breaking of rocks and shaking of rocks, energy is released. So, importante na may ma-store muna na energy before ma-release siya. Okay, para may ma-release. Okay? Alright, so we're done with activity 3. These are very short activities really, no? We don't want very long activities para hindi maubos yung time in the classroom kasi 1 hour lang. Gusto rin nating maiksi para nakapag-process tayo ng mas mahaba ano yung mga resulta. Okay? At so yun yung mga considerations natin kung bakit. At gusto natin pala yung mga activity natin ay maiksi, showing just a simple concept para hindi magulo, hindi kung sari-saring maraming mga concepts na halo-halo. Okay? So there. Oh, sabi dito, may choppy po ang dating ng presentation. So, hopefully, it's clear to the rest. No? Okay, so, next activity, activity 4. Where does an earthquake start? Saan ba nanggagaling itong earthquake na to? Okay? Ang earthquake ay nanggagaling doon sa underground where the first break occurs. Ano ibig sabihin ng first break occurs? Kasi yung lakas ng rocks ay underground ay hindi pare-pareho, no? May part na mas mahina at yun ang unang bibigay o magbe-break. So yung lugar kung saan unang magbe-break, yun ang pinanggagalingan ng earthquake. So sa drawing natin, ito yun, no? The origin of the earthquake called the focus, that's where the first break occurs. Diyan ang unang pagkabasag ng bato. Tapos, kakalat na yung pagkabasag na yon, no? So, parang pag merong kunyaring, meron kang, there's a window pane, for example, no? Kung minsan ay merong natamaan natin yung window pane, tapos nabasag siya. Nagkakaroon ng crack, pero hindi lahat nagka-crack. Nagsisimula yung crack sa isang lugar, tapos yung crack ay nagpropagate, no? O umaandar, gumagalaw. Okay, so there. So yan ang focus, ang pinanggagalingan ng earthquake, no? And the epicenter is right above it on the surface of the earth. And the students in this activity will cut the module doon sa magpa-Xerox kayo ng module at pa-Xerox kayo module at gupitin ninyo at gumawa kayo dito gumawa kayo ng model at yung model ay may dalawang bahagi. So nakikita niyo yung focus doon, ano? At pagsamahin niyo, makikita niyo yung guhit na yan at ang tawag diyan ay fault line. At yung star na yon, yan yung epicenter. Yan yung spot directly above the focus below. Okay? So, ang pinapakita lang nito ay saan galing yung focus at nasaan ba ang epicenter with regards to the focus. Okay, so pwede rin gamitin yung model na yon, galaw-galawin ng mga bata para makita nila parang how faults affect the ground, no? Pwede ang paggalaw ay like in A, no? Horizontal ang movement, ang B ganun din but in the opposite direction. Sa C, there's a part of the ground that goes down, okay? And in D, the part that went down goes up, no? So all these are possible movements along a fault, no? Although faults rarely change their direction of movement, pero maaring mangyari 'yon, ano? Pero so ang ipapakita nating point dito is that movement of faults displace the ground in different ways. Okay? Dito sa Module 1, pag-uusapan din yung intensity scale. Ginawa ng PHIVOX ito. The intensity scale tells us how strong an earthquake is. And the intensity scale studied something that's scarcely perceptible. Ibig sabihin, hindi natin maramdaman ito, ano? Nakakaramdam kadalasan nito, mga instrumento lang. At maaring ang gagalaw lang dito ay yung mga bagay na, kunyari, yung mga nakasabit na nakasabit na mga bulb, kunyari mga light bulb, ganyan, o mga tubig sa pail, ganyan. Tapos kung papanoorin mo ng gusto mo lang makikita, no? So, pero yun yung intensity 1. Pero yung intensity 10, yan ang pinakamalakas, no? Halos lahat ng gawa ng tao na structure ay maaring masira. Maaring mga guho, landslides, maaring may aakyat na uplift of landforms, may bababa, subsidence, para magkakabitak ang lupa, magpalit yung galaw ng rivers, and so on, no? So, the strength of the earthquake, no, in the intensity scale, can be seen in the effect of the earthquake, no? Kung ano epekto ng earthquake, nagpapakita kung gaano siya kalakas. Okay? So, yan. And then, you also will talk about, do you live near an active fault? Sa Module 1, ano? This is a map that can be downloaded from the PHIVOX website, and it shows you two geological features where earthquakes are generated. Itong mga lines na to, itong mahabang itong line na to, yan ang Philippine Fault. At yung mga lines, marami pang mga ibang lines dyan, yan naman ay mga mas maiksing mga fault. Pero lahat daw yan, sabi ng PHIVOX, ay active na faults. So pag dumadaan ang mga ito malapit sa inyo, ay ibig sabihin na kailangan kayong maghanda dahil maaaring gumalaw yan within your lifetime. At meron ding mga iba pa dito, mga structures, trench ang tawag dyan. At pag gumalaw naman itong mga ito, nasa dagat itong mga ito, ay maaaring magkaroon ng earthquake at tsunami. Yan, okay? So, download this so that you get a high resolution map, and then study this. May legend naman doon, mababasa nyo kung anong ibig sabihin, to find out whether your place has an active fault nearby. Okay? This activity, activity 5, will simulate a tsunami. So, meron ka ditong lalagyan, lagyan mo lang ng tubig, kumuha ka lang ng plastic doon, maglagay ka ng bato to represent a landmass. Kunyari, island dito, no? Tapos, ilalagay mo lang put the plastic doon sa bottom ng container. And then, suddenly jerk this plastic up, no? Yan, suddenly jerk this plastic up. Nakikita nyo, no? Yon. And when you suddenly jerk the plastic up, the water is also pushed up. And when the water is pushed up, you can see nagkakaroon dito ng crest o wave. And that wave moves, no? Mula doon, pumunta na doon, no? O, kikita nyo ba? Gumalaw siya, papunta ron. At from here, pupunta siya doon, no? Yon, no? Pumunta na siya doon, no? Lumapit na siya doon. Nakikita nyo ba? O, pumupunta siya doon, no? And in fact, nakikita nyo, bumaba muna yung tubig doon, tapos umakyat na siya. So, nakarating na yung wave doon. So, this simulates a tsunami, you know? In real life, the sea floor, kung nasaan may fault, no? Biglang gagalaw yung sea floor, matutulak na yung tubig above, at yung tubig, lolobo yung tubig, nagkakaroon ng wave, at yung wave ay gagalaw, papunta ron, at yung mga iba papunta rin doon. At pag tumama sa lupa, yung magkakaroon ng tsunami. Yun. So this is, this activity simulates how a tsunami may be formed by the movement of an underwater fault. Okay, or could be generated by the movement along a trench. Yan. Okay, so to get more information, please visit Phybox, okay, and download anything that you can download there as long as you acknowledge and credit Phybox as the source of your information. You can also go to USGS, the United States Geological Survey, go to their Earthquake Hazards Program website, and learn more about earthquakes. Okay, so that takes care of Module 1. Medyo napatagal tayo doon. I hope that you learned something from our discussion. Thank you. That takes care of Module 1.
Thank you very much,
Tapos na po ako.
Okay. Thank you very much, June. So now you know why from time to time we have earthquakes, no, in certain areas or in the Philippines, or how movement of faults cause earthquake, or how tsunamis occur. Talagang napakalinaw no na pinapakita ni Sir. Attendees, dear attendees, please, at this point, you may type your questions on the presentation. And for those who have not yet filled up the attendance sheet, please do so. Okay? And then we would like to have this break to announce that there will be a national conference to be offered by NISMED. This is our 2013 national conference. You can see on your screen. Okay, the theme is empowering teachers for the K-12 curriculum through lesson study. There's the website that you can get more information from. So it will be on October 22 to 24. It will be held here at our institute. Okay, and for more information, please contact the following. There's our email address, our telephone numbers, our mobile, and our fax number. Okay, so, Sir June, are you still okay? Ready na po ba? Can we proceed to the next one?
Yes. Okay. Okay. So,
all right. So
before I begin. Okay. Before I begin.
Okay, June.
Let me answer. Let me address two things first. First,
okay.
May nagtanong daw, sabi ni John, si Christine May Torres. During the DepEd mass training, focus ay isang point lang. Ang focus ay isang point lang, pero yung epicenter pwedeng gumalaw. Please clarify po. Nalito kasi ako. Well, yung epicenter
is the spot directly above the focus. So, kung yung focus ay isa, ang epicenter ay isa din. No? So, kung nasaan yung epicenter, kung nasaan yung focus, yung epicenter is directly above it, no? On the surface of the earth. Yon. So, and the second thing is, bago ako magsimula ng module 2 ay siguro Ma'am Celia, baka pwede na natin tanungin muna yung ating poll question natin bago ko magsimula kasi yan. Okay. Everyone, may request ako ulit. There's a question on your screen. Pwede ba nating sagutin ulit ito? There's a question on your screen. Please type your answer on the space provided. So the question is, what makes a typhoon move?
It's in the
ano ba ang nagpapagalaw sa isang bagyo? Okay. What makes a typhoon move? Okay, tignan natin. So, we have answers. Nasagot na. Okay, we have 4 answers and the answer is the wind. Tignan natin kung anong sagot ng iba. The wind, the wind, the wind. Okay, so the hot wind.
The hot wind. There's one. The hot.
Oo. So, okay. So, meron tayong 5 mga mabibilis na sumagot. 5, 6. Oo, may something to do with the wind, ano? Okay, so, the answer is that, 7. Okay. So, the answer is, correct. Okay, the wind. Wind current, so, except na, we have to be more specific than that, no? So, kasi maraming wind, ano? May local na wind, okay, may regional na wind, ganyan, ano? Oo. Pero more importantly, mas maganda yung sagot nitong isa, may sumagot ng pressure. Okay. Pero itong pressure kulang, no? Kulang, no? Ang magandang sagot dito ay there's a low pressure, okay? There's a low pressure somewhere. At yung regional wind ay papunta doon at nadadala niya yung bagyo. Okay? There's a low pressure somewhere, no? At the regional wind goes in that direction towards the low pressure area. Okay? And the wind carries the typhoon. The regional wind carries the typhoon towards that low pressure area. Okay, so pero at least consistent yung mga sagot natin, no? Okay, so very good. Maganda. So we will now start with Module 2. Intindihin natin ang mga bagyo, tropical cyclones or typhoons. Okay. You may be wondering why typhoons yung ginamit natin dito at hindi tropical cyclone. And the reason is because mahirap intindihin, mahirap magsimula sa hindi pa natin alam, no? Yung mga bata, hindi pa nila alam kung ano yung tropical cyclone. So, we start with something familiar. And this is the reason why typhoons ang ginamit natin dyan. Okay? So, now, again, as you know, in grade 8, as in grade 7, as in grade 9, no? As from grade 3 to grade 10, there are 3 modules. And we are now in the second module, and that is devoted to meteorology. And in meteorology, in grade 8, we will talk about typhoons. Okay? And the topics are, the typhoons and PAR or Philippine Area of Responsibility ito, but there are many subtopics really, and you will as you encounter them, you will get to know what these topics are. Okay? Right. So, in grade 7, ang pinag-usapan natin dito ay ano-ano yung mga iba-ibang atmospheric phenomena na very common, ano? Like breezes, no? Itong breeze ay nangyayari no, araw-araw, no, merong sea breeze at saka land breeze, no. At yung monsoons ay nangyayari taon-taon, no. In fact, ngayon ay we're experiencing the southwest monsoon o sa Tagalog ay habagat at maaaring may tawag din ito sa in your local dialect, no, o local language, no. And then ITCZ, na-experience din natin ito ngayon, no, the Intertropical Convergence Zone, no. So lahat ito pinaliwanag sa grade 7, no. Now, the reason why breezes, monsoons, and ITCZ were all lumped together in grade 7 is because they are all caused by the same thing. So all these phenomena can be explained by one thing, and that is, pag may mainit na lugar yung globe, no? Kunyari, dito sa equator, mainit na lugar yan, ano? Nagkakaroon tayo ng air na warm, no? At yung warm air ay nagra-rise. At ano ngayon ang epekto nun kung nagra-rise yung warm air? So, nagkakaroon tayo ng convection, nagkakaroon tayo ng low pressure area, nagkakaroon tayo ng movement from one place to another ng air, at yun ang tinatawag na wind, at yun ang tinatawag na breeze, and so on, no? So, in grade 8, we take up yung rising of warm air that causes low pressure areas, no? At ang low pressure area na yan ay ang cause kung bakit nagkakaroon ng typhoon o nagkakaroon ng tropical cyclones, okay? So because merong warm air rising, okay? Nagkakaroon ng that place where warm air rises, that's a low pressure area. And these low pressure areas may become stronger, no? Humihigop siya ng hangin, at pag lumakas ang hangin na yan, magiging tropical depression, magiging tropical storm, typhoon, super typhoon. Yon. So in grade 7, we start with basics about low pressure areas, and in grade 8, we focus on typhoons, which actually starts from a low pressure area. Okay? Makikita din natin in grade 8 na typhoons are affected by land, no? When they come on land, they weaken, no? And when they're still in bodies of water, they strengthen, no? So, kaya yung maring, nung kaalis lang na maring, lumakas siya kasi nandun lang sa tubig. Kaya yung energy from the water, tuloy-tuloy lang, no? Pagdating niya ng Taiwan, ay naging more than 100 kilometers per hour na ang bilis ng kanyang hangin. Samantalang nung nandito ay medyo mas mabagal siya, no? 75, 95 kilometers per hour. And then, titignan din natin sa grade 8, bakit gumagalaw yung typhoons in a certain direction. Okay? In grade 9, pag-uusapan na natin ng climate. Kasi puro weather from grade 3 to grade 8. So, in climate, parang ano ba ang pagkakaiba ng weather sa climate? And we will look at the different factors that affect climate. Okay? So, we'll talk about El Nino, global warming. This is an introduction to climate change, no? And we talk about climate change also towards the end of grade 9. Okay. So, what are the main ideas in grade 8? No? The main ideas are this, no? A tropical cyclone develops over warm parts of the ocean. So, kung may mainit na bahagi ang karagatan, diyan nabubuo ang mga tropical cyclones, no? Natural, since the Philippines is close to the equator, maraming bahagi ang tubig na lumilibot sa Pilipinas ay mainit, no? Ang Pilipinas ay archipelago. Ibig sabihin, pinapalibutan siya ng tubig. At dahil malapit tayo sa equator, ang tubig na ito ay warm o mainit. Kaya dyan nagsisimula ang tropical cyclones. Pero siyempre, hindi muna natin sasabihin sa mga estudyante natin ito, at tatanungin lang natin at the end of our lessons, no? Hindi tayo ang magsasabi, sila ang mag-form, they will construct their own meaning, their own concepts, and they will share this with the class, no? And then, tropical cyclones generally move northwestward, no? Karamihan ng mga bagyo ay gumagalaw pa hilagang kanluran, ano? From east to west and from south to north, no? So, galing siya sa south, pupunta siya sa north. Or galing siya ng east, punta siya ng west. Or a combination of both, no? So, northwest. Alright. So, sa module 2, again, as I told you, maganda na magsimula with the picture. And here, we begin with the picture. Sa Pilipinas ito, no? Sa Cainta Rizal, no? Nung panahon ng Ondoy, international name Quetzana. Oo. At alam na natin, no? Marami sa atin nakakaalam kung anong nangyari. Para sa ating mga teachers sa probinsya, maaaring magkwento tayo ng konti tungkol sa Ondoy para malaman ng mga estudyante natin, no, kung ano ang nangyari sa Metro Manila at sa Karatig Pook nung Ondoy. Ano? So, ito ang epekto ng, yan ang epekto ng bagyo. Lahat tayo naapektuhan, buong bansa mula Batanes hanggang sa kaduluduluhan ng Pilipinas sa Mindanao, no? So, kailangan tayo lahat ay maghanda. Okay, so ito ay larawan ng isang bagyo taken by a satellite from above, no? We do not see the typhoons, we do not see typhoons like this, no? So, ang na-experience lang natin ay yung ulap, yung hangin at yung ulan, no? But if you are in a satellite, no, kunyari sumakay ka sa satellite, no, kung posible 'yon, at you are way above the typhoon, no, nasa ibabaw ka ng typhoon, pag tumingin ka sa baba, ito makikita mo, no, merong maraming kaulapan, okay, and clouds are going around a center, okay, in a counterclockwise direction, okay, and at itong center na to ang tawag ay eye, no. And this eye usually ay clear, no? Walang clouds. Pero in this case, meron namang clouds din sa gitna, no? Okay. So, napakalaki nitong na to, itong typhoon na to. If you look at the scale here, this is 100 kilometers. Kaya kung yung 100 kilometers ay ilagay mo dyan, napakalaki na itong ano na to. Nitong bagyo na to. No? So, super typhoon ito. Nga pala. Gusto ko lang banggitin that if you use a picture, always put the name of the agency or the person or the newspaper where you got the resource. In this case, this image. No? So I wrote the NASA Earth Observatory. NASA Earth Observatory, and somebody answered me and I asked for permission and they said, yes, I can use this picture. Okay, so pwede nyo ring gawin yan. And then, okay, may napanood ako sa TV at ginagawa ng mga teachers sa isang TV station, pinakita nila sa news yung nangyaring training, ano. At ang pinakita nung cameraman, syempre hindi naman alam nung cameraman kung ano dapat niyang kunan, ay something like this or this, no? These are bubbles going up, no? Hindi ito gusto natin, ano? These are bubbles that na elongated, no? Parang ganoon, parang nagdikit-dikit, no? Hindi ayaw din natin 'yan, no? Ito yung nag-elongate na bubble, tapos na-break niya yung surface, no? Ayaw din natin 'yan. So ayaw natin 'tong mga to. Ang gusto natin ganito, the one here labeled tama. We want na hindi magulo yan, ano? Walang mga bubbling up doon, no? Na disturbed, no? Gusto natin, yan, gusto natin ganito, no? We want this malinis yung surface, ganyan. Tapos may funnel that goes down, okay? And the water is going around in a counterclockwise direction. Ito, there's just bubbles, no? So, hindi yan. Ito, may elongated bubble. Ito ay magulo yung surface. We don't want that either. So, make sure that how is this? You twirl or you rotate. O ano bang swirl, yeah, you swirl this the bottle such that you get a clean, nice funnel that goes down. So, yan yung simulation natin ng typhoon. So, the water represents the clouds that go around in a counterclockwise direction. And the funnel represents the clear area where the eye of the typhoon is. No? Pag ganito, walang eye ng typhoon, walang eye ng typhoon, walang eye ng typhoon. No? Hindi malinis yung pag-ikot. No? Okay. So, practicein nyo yan. Simple lang ito, pero kailangan ng practice. Alright. Ang unang activity natin ay we need to, I'm very sorry na wala akong kanina, wala akong arrow, no? I thought na nakikita nyo yung aking cursor. So, thank you for providing me with this arrow. And sana nandito pa kanina sa Module 1, ano? So, tuna ng ating mga estudyante, how to plot points using the latitude and the longitude. Okay? So, importante yung latitude at longitude sa grade 7. Pag hindi nila alam yon o nakalimutan nila, we need to refresh the student's memory how to plot the latitude and the longitude. Kasi in Activity 1, they will plot the latitude and longitude of each of the corners of this, ano ba ito? Of this polygon, no? Okay. Ito ang Philippine Area of Responsibility, no? Hindi natin ibibigay sa mga estudyante ito. Ipapaplot natin sa kanila. Ibibigay natin sa kanila itong 25 degrees north, 120 degrees east. Ito din, ito din, ito din, ito din, ito din. At sila ang magpa-plot nito at sasabihin nila sa atin at we will check, no? Okay. So, kung hindi nila maalala yung grade 7 nila, ipaalala natin, no? So, ito ang spiraling, no? We revisit a skill or a concept in earlier grades and we use it again and again to integrate, no? To integrate the different concepts and to refresh students refresh their memories, no? Okay. So, importante na tanungin natin, itong mga tanong na to ay itong mga tanong na to sa under what conditions do tropical cyclones form ay gagamitin natin in relation to this maps here, no? These maps here in these two slides, okay? What are the questions, no? Where do tropical cyclones form? Ito ang una nating tatanungin, wag muna nating tatanungin itong kasunod. Kung hindi nila masagot, saka natin tatanong on land or in the ocean. So, titignan natin ito. Saan ba nabubuo ang mga tropical cyclones? So, they're supposed to, it starts or it forms or it develops in the sea or in the ocean or in the body of water, no? Yan. In other words, kailangan alam ng mga estudyante na ito ay Pilipinas, na ito ay Taiwan, na ito ang Pilipinas, ito ang Taiwan, ito ang mainland China, at ito ay Borneo. At ito ay the West Philippine Sea o South China Sea, at ito ang Pacific Ocean or West Philippine Sea. Okay? Pacific Ocean, okay? Or the Philippine Sea. Okay? So, kailangan alam nila na ang ibig sabihin ng start ay this is where it forms, this is where the tropical cyclones develop, and so on, no? So, at ends ay kung saan siya nawawala, no? Namamatay o nagda-die out. Okay? Okay. So, susunod naman, what can you say about the temperatures of the bodies of water in the vicinity of the Philippines? Huwag muna nating tatanungin ito para tignan natin kung masagot nila. They are supposed to be able to say na the temperature is warm. Why? Because the Philippines is close to the equator. And they can answer this because they can provide this answer because in grade 7 alam nila that the Philippines is close to the equator, and in the previous activity alam na nila na ayan, no, nakalagay dito 5 degrees north, so malapit sa equator itong Pilipinas. Okay, so kailangan kung hindi naman nila masagot yon ay tanungin na lang natin, is the water warm or cold, no? So, dapat masagot na nila yan. In what direction do the tropical cyclones move? So, titignan nila, ano bang direction? So, makikita nila the tropical cyclone moves in this direction. Pero baka kailangan sabihin natin na yung tropical cyclone nagsimula dito, 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 at nawala doon. Nagsisimula dito, 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 dyan, ganyan, dyan, hanggang doon. So, itong mga dots na to ito yung mga lugar kung na nasaan sila day by day, no? Day by day. So, kung minsan malaki yung agwat, so ibig sabihin malaki ang ginalaw niya within a certain day. Maiksi ang agwat, so maiksi ang ginalaw na within a certain day, and so on. So, eto yung medyo mabagal siya gumalaw kasi dikit-dikit, no? Pero eto, mabilis siya gumalaw, okay? So, ano ang paggalaw? To the northwest, okay? Eto ay may konting northeast doon. To the northwest, okay? So, pahilaga to the north kasi medyo southern dito tapos to the north, no? At to the west, no? Kasi east dito papuntang west dito, no? Or northwest, okay? And then finally, which part of the Philippines was hit by the 4 tropical cyclones? So gusto lang nating pakita na laging tinatamaan yung eastern part muna, no? Yung eastern part ng Luzon, yung eastern part ng Luzon, okay? So, dito, yung eastern part ng Luzon, eastern part ng Luzon. Kung minsan, yung eastern part ng Samar, Leyte, eastern part ng Bicol, eastern part eastern part ng Mindanao. So, eastern part laging tinatamaan bago mag-cross ng gitna ng Pilipinas, tapos mag-exit sa western part. Unless na dito sa dumaan, so these are the eastern part of the Philippines na unang tatamaan, the eastern part. Unless na yung bagyo ay dito dumaan, ano? So, walang tatamaan na land. Okay? And then, in which case, in the case of Agatonio, where did they die out? Near land or in the middle of the ocean? Saan ba? Saan ba siya nawawala? So, sa land. So, on land, no? Sa Taiwan. Or in this case, no? Dito naman, near mainland China. So, malapit sa land, no? Okay. So, dito, malapit din sa China, no? Near land. At dito, pagtama niya sa Luzon, nawala na siya, no? So, when tropical cyclones hit land, ay nawawala na siya o nanghihina. Why? Because tropical cyclones get their energy from warm water. So, when they hit land, wala ng warm water. So they die out. So, nawawala na sila. Okay? So, as you can see, we do not provide the answers to these questions here, no? We ask questions and the students will provide the answers by looking at maps. No? Sila ang maghahanap ng sagot by looking at maps. You just guide them with, you just provide them with guiding questions so that they can arrive at the proper answers. So, yan ang gusto nating mangyari. Do not provide answers. Let the students discover the answers by themselves. Okay, on their own. Okay, so, and then in activity 2, we ask the students to track the typhoon, no? Bibigyan natin sila ng day-to-day. Ay, wala palang ano dito. Kaya bibigyan natin sila ng data, day-to-day. So, latitude and longitude, every day, latitude and pwedeng every 6 hours or 12 hours and so on. Tapos, ayun, at ipa-plot nila, tapos makikita nila kung sa ano ang paggalaw ng tropical cyclone. So, in this case, this is Typhoon Sendong, and it hit the east side of Mindanao, and then it crossed Mindanao, and then it weakened a little bit, and then dumaan sa Sulusi, so nag-strengthen naman ng konti, tapos tumama sa Palawan. So, yan ang nangyari, ano? So, they can see, they have an idea paanong ginagawa ng mga meteorologists when they track typhoons, then, at kung paano gumagalaw, gaano kabilis, ano ang tinatamaan, at kung humihina o lumalakas. No? So, read up on Sendong to find out the basics of this story. Okay? And then, in activity 3, this is our final activity. Let's silip tayo sa loob ng typhoon. So, ito yung tropical cyclone, or yung typhoon, ano? Yun yung kanyang eye, yun ang mga clouds that go around in a counterclockwise direction. So, if we slice the typhoon in half, no? Kung hatiin natin, kunyari cake ito, at hinati natin yung typhoon, tignan natin from the side, this is what it looks like, no? So, yung eye, it goes all the way down, no? May clouds, or they go all the way down. Tapos meron ding may mga ano dito, yung clouds ay hindi tuloy-tuloy. Itong cloud na to, itong ibabaw na to, yun, yung ibabaw na yun, no? Pero para siyang umbrella, no? Sa ilalim nun, may mga clouds pa, yan. Okay. So, ang unang tanong ay, ano ba yung pagkakaiba ng air pressure from A, B, C, D? So, A, 930, 960, 980, 990. We can see, you ask the students, saan yung low pressure? Nandito yung low pressure. So, wait for them to say na A is where the low pressure is. Nasa ng high pressure, 990, this is where the low pressure is. So, as you approach the eye of the typhoon, the low pressure becomes, the pressure becomes lower. And as you go away from the eye of the typhoon, the pressure becomes, increases. So, maliwanag na dito ay low pressure area to. And this is the reason why clouds, the wind goes towards the eye, and the wind carries the clouds towards the eye, no? Yun ang nangyayari. At dito naman ay, nasaan yung wind speed? Ano yung wind speed, no? Sa E, ang wind speed ay 10 kilometers per hour. Pero sa F, ang wind speed ay 200 kilometers per hour. You see the jump from E, from the eye, to the edge of the eye, no? What is called the eye wall, no? The eye wall. Ito yung clouds na to, no? Sa tabi ng eye, this is where the strongest winds are and where the fastest wind speed is. 200 kilometers per hour. Napakabilis nito. Pero sa gitna, 10 kilometers per hour. So that when you are here at the eye of the typhoon, you think there is no typhoon. Kala mo tapos na. Yung pala dumaan lang yung eye. Okay? Pagdaan nung eye, tatamaan ka nito, ay malakas na ulit. Akala mo bumalik yung bagyo. Hindi. No? So, when the typhoon passes from here, from the typhoon goes there, you are here, ang una mong tatamaan ay itong eye wall na to, 200 kilometers per hour. Tapos magiging 10, humina, akala mo tapos na. Tapos tatamaan mo ulit ito, 200 kilometers ulit. So, malakas na naman. Hindi bumalik ang typhoon, kundi dumaan yung typhoon, na-experience mo from one side to the other. Okay? So, there. So, that takes care of the three activities. At dito ay papakita na lang natin yung mga storm signals. In signal number 1, these are the wind speeds from 30 to 60 kilometers per hour. And you can see in 2, 3, 4, palakas ng palakas yung hangin. The more important thing to look at is this one. Kailan ma-expect itong hangin na ito? In signal number 1, it will come after 36 hours. So, ibig sabihin you have 1.5 days before it comes. But, there is a big but. Nangyayari lang ito doon sa first announcement. If it's the first announcement, this is true. In the second announcement, hindi na totoo ito. This time is smaller. Maging naging 30 na lang, naging 24 na lang, and so on. Sa third announcement nito, palit ng palit ito because the typhoon is coming closer and closer. So, in signal number 2, you have an hour to prepare on the first announcement. Pero with the second announcement, this time is smaller, and so on and so forth. In signal number 4, the eye will hit your place. So, ibig sabihin, be very careful. At the first announcement, you have 12 hours. At the second announcement, you have less than 12. Okay? So, ganyan gamitin ang table na to. Okay, you can go visit Pagasa, okay, to download other information. You can go to NASA Hurricanes and Tropical Cyclones. You can go to National Weather Service. It's a website by, it's one of the websites, marami silang pages, web page ng NOAA o Jetstream and Online School for Weather. Nandyan ang Tropical Cyclone Formation Basin. And then, National Hurricane Center. NOAA din yan, So, makikita nyo dito yung storm surge. You play this animation, napakaganda ng animation na yan. At kayong mga nasa coastal areas, you will find this very helpful in explaining to your class what a storm surge is. Okay, so that takes care of Module 2. Thank you for listening. And if you have questions, please just write to us at Kasama. Thank you very much.
An undergraduate degree in pharmacy from the University of the Philippines in Manila and placed number 5 in the pharmacy board exams in 2002. She completed her master's degree in education, major in chemistry, and then since 2002, Pia was involved in various research, curriculum development, teacher professional development and extension, as well as public education projects of UP NISMED. Recently, she took a year's leave to become Mrs. Pia Campo Corba, and while on leave, she wrote the module on comets, asteroids, and meteors for the K-12 Grade 8 Science Learners material. Okay, dear participants, please welcome Pia Campo Corba to present Module 3.
Okay,
Pia.
So good afternoon sa ating mga teachers. Malakas po ba ang dating ko? Malinaw? Okay. So, tatry ko po na, we'll just go through the unit or rather the module because it's a very quick module as what Sir June mentioned earlier. Now, if you remember, Sir June mentioned about the storylines. I don't have the slide with me, but just to follow suit with what Sir did earlier, when it comes to astronomy, if you will recall in grade 6, during grade 6, Earth's motion, particularly rotation and revolution, were discussed, as well as the members of the solar system. So, that's the start of the storyline for the astronomy part in grade 6. Now, in grade 7, we talked about seasons and eclipses. And if you will recall, seasons and eclipses, they are also related to the motion of the Earth, particularly how it moves around the sun. And so, by extension, it's actually an extension of what was learned in grade 6. Now, in grade 8, since we talked about the members of the solar system in grade 6, sa grade 8 naman, there are also other members of the solar system, and these are the comets, asteroids, and meteors, or the comets and asteroids. Okay? So, before I move on, Miss Celia, ang ating pop-up question. Yan. So again, just like what you did earlier with Sir June, we have this pop-up question, and let's see if we think it's true or if it's not true that scientists cannot predict when a comet or an asteroid will visit Earth. Is this true or false? Okay, so, may nagpalit ng sagot. Ayan, so nadagdag. Meron pa? May hahabol pa? Wala na? Alright, so, I will not answer this question right now, but hopefully later as we move along the discussion, we'll go back to this question. So far, majority or 90% answered that it is false. So meaning to say, 90% believe that scientists can predict comets or asteroids or when they would visit Earth, okay? So let's go back to our presentation. Now, I hope you're holding a copy of the learner's materials as well as the teacher's guide, because all these things were taken from these two materials, and I'll just like to stress on certain things that are already there in the written resources that you have with you. And kita nyo nga, no, 3 to 4 hours lang. Okay? So the big ideas in this module is, number one, these comets and asteroids are, as mentioned earlier, they are the other members of the solar system. And they orbit the sun just like the planets. And they are called the near-Earth objects kasi medyo lumalapit-lapit sila sa Earth during certain times while they go around the sun. Second, studying comets and asteroids gives our scientists ideas on how Earth and the solar system were formed. So, baka kasi tinatanong ng estudyante, no, ba't ba natin pag-aaralan ng comets and asteroids? Ano ba yung silbi nito sa buhay natin? And we know that in grade 7, we have a topic on the different resources found on Earth. And of course, those resources, we have them because Earth developed through a long period of time. And that would mean we have to go back to the history of how the planet was formed. Okay? Other big ideas, comet and asteroid impacts have happened before in Earth's long history. And these have helped shape Earth's surface, so geology, and caused the death of living creatures. May impact siya sa buhay. Hindi lang ng tao, pero kung ano man yung mga living creatures na nandoon sa lugar kung saan siya tumama. And this one, the last big idea, some of the minerals and metals found on Earth are of extraterrestrial origin. Alien. They originated from a comet, asteroid, or a meteoroid. Okay. All right. So the slide that you are seeing right now contains the general strategies that I encourage you to use when you teach about comets, meteors, and asteroids. So always elicit students' prior knowledge kasi baka mamaya mas marami pa silang alam sa atin, di ba? So if that's the case, then maybe they can give more inputs, unlike or instead of us doing more of the talking during class discussions. Second, assess the students' knowledge before, during, and after each activity. So later, among the things that I'll be focusing would be dealing on assessment. And lastly, if you have access to the internet or newspapers, similarly to what Sir Jun did earlier, he showed you some of the websites where he got his information and other resources that you can use. It's the same thing that I recommend when you teach about this module, especially that when it comes to comets, meteors, meteoroids, asteroids, mahirap pong i-hands-on yan. Mahirap siyang i-model. Very limited yung modeling na pwede nating gawin. And there are a lot of good resources online coming from NASA and other sites. By the way, all the sites that we used, it's also in the teaching guide. Now, let's go straight to the activity, no? Sa module 3, let's start first with the first activity. Okay. But prior to that, there's another pop-up question from Miss Celia about comments. Pakisagutan po. Okay. Any other answers? We have 11 responses. May habol pa? Wala na? Okay, may humabol pa. Okay. Going once, going twice, and our poll is closed. Closed na ba, Miss Celia? Okay. So again, no, i-ano lang natin, balikan lang natin yung responses. Majority or 75% of the participants believe that or think that comets in the sky are actually beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Again, we will find out if your answer is correct as we go along discussing the presentation. Okay, so kung makikita po ninyo sa slide, no, I placed there some teaching notes and pictures of what the model is supposed to look like for this simulation activity. So the question that the students should hopefully be able to answer is what happens when a comet or an asteroid hits Earth? Okay? So, very important na since this is a simulation or a modeling activity, it's very important that we stress to the students later on what is being modeled or represented. Okay? And, of course, you should try out this activity before you make your students do it. Para kung merong konting adjustment na kailangan gawin, may time pa tayo. Now, if you will look into your teacher's guide and in the learner's material, I've written there that you use colored powder. So, paano ba ginagawa yung colored powder na to? It can be any powdery material, starch, flour. Yung luma na, tatapon nyo na sana, gamitin nyo siya. Pwede nyong haluan ng powdered food coloring or kung meron ko yung pinagpag doon sa chalk dust na colored. So, you just mix it with these. In the pictures I have in the slide, it's not colored. And you will see later why it's better to have a little bit of color in the flour. Okay? So, in this case, this flour or starch will be representing Earth's rocks and soil, or the ground, okay? So, I wrote there that you need to use a pebble, but if you can't find pebbles, pwedeng marbles, pwedeng stones, but make sure that if you pick the stone, it should be small enough for the pan na mayroong flour or starch, just like what you see in the pictures, okay? Then, other teaching notes, you have to discuss table 1. Later, I'll show you table 1 and why it is important that you actually help the students understand what's being presented there. And ask them questions so that you'll get to know or you'll know if they actually understand what they've read. Okay? And you can also make chemistry connections. If you will look into their learner's material, there's a discussion there about the Alvarez hypothesis, and there's a focus on iridium. It's it's an element belonging to the platinum family, and this element was discovered by the scientists that we don't really have it. It's found in small quantities in Earth's crust, but it's higher in the mantle and the core. Now, when they were studying the seafloors, na-discover nila na may mga area doon sa isang peninsula sa Yucatan, malapit po yun sa Mexico, na maraming iridium deposits. So, this kinds of information, they were able to come up with a theory which is called the asteroid impact theory, or later on yung Alvarez. Marami kasing theories na pinopost, pero yung kay Alvarez, yung scientist na yun naging sikat at inaccept ng scientific community as of now. Now again, all the discussion about what I'm talking about is in the teacher's guide, and as well as the links if you want to know more about it. Now, when the students do this activity, ito yung makikita nila. Isa sa posible nilang makita. Ngayon, you can see there are arrows there pointing to the model. As usually, when we ask our students, what's your observation? Ano yung sa tingin yung una nilang mapapansin lang? Okay, yan, may pointer ako. Paano yan? Ayan. So, usually, ito lang yung mapapansin nila. So, I'd like to stress that aside from this observation that your students would probably cite most, you should also ask them what happens to the flour or the starch that's nearest to the hole or crater which was formed by the stone when it fell on the flour or the pebble, okay? So, kung makikita nyo rin, no, dito, may tumilamsik pa hanggang dyan sa labas. So this is important because in the embedded questions in the activity, if you were to extend this simulation activity, and kunyari, no, ito yung ground at dito tumama yung asteroid, anong sa tingin nilang mangyayari kung may mga halaman dyan or may mga hayop dyan? Or if there are houses there, what do you think will happen? Okay? So, not just here in the crater itself, but also the surrounding areas. Hindi lang siya sa iisang lugar. Okay? So, on this next slide, you're seeing the key ideas for Module 3 or key science ideas, no? And as I've mentioned earlier, you need to give time in discussing Table 1, which is found in the learner's material. So, ito po siya. Okay? The comparison of some characteristics of comets and asteroids. Because if you will remember, the goal of grade 8 astronomy is to talk about the characteristics of comets and asteroids. So, we'll see here different criteria for differentiating or finding similarities between the two. So the origin, shape, size, chemical composition, orbit, orbital period. Okay, so earlier we posted the question about can we actually predict the when a comet or an asteroid would hit Earth or would at least visit Earth, meaning hindi naman tatama talaga, no, pero masisinagan natin sila sa sky. So the answer there is, if we will, based on this table, ano kaya? Tama kaya or hindi yung sagot natin? So most of us said that yes, we can predict more or less when they will visit Earth. So that is true. Because since these two celestial objects orbit the sun, di ba, ang Earth and other planets, they orbit the sun, by studying the orbits, the scientists are able to more or less predict when we will sight them again. So usually, if you will go through the module in the teaching guide, you will see there that the comets and asteroids, when they appear in the sky, they appear there for a long time. So when the scientists say that, oh, in this year, for 2013, you will view this comet from January 2013 until, let's say, January 2014. So that's how long you can actually see these two celestial objects. Okay? So yun yung sagot dun sa ating question kanina. Then the other question was about when we see the comets in the sky, is it in Earth's atmosphere or beyond Earth's atmosphere? So again, no, we go back from what we've discussed, that These celestial objects orbit the sun. Therefore, they are beyond, or they are found beyond Earth's atmosphere. So yung nakikita natin sa kalangitan, malayo yon, malayong malayo, pero dahil bright sila, kaya natin nakikita, especially in the case of comets. But for asteroids, this is not always the case. It will depend on whether they have more silicates in their chemical composition. So again, all these things are in the teaching guide. Next is Module 3, Activity 2. The activity is actually just a reading activity. So in this activity, we are trying to help students make or find a relationship between these three concepts, or among these three concepts: meteoroid, meteor, meteorite. Baka kasi pareho lang kaya ito, pare-pareho ba yung mga yan, o magkakaiba, and paano sila nagkakaiba. So again, when you do this activity, since it's a reading activity, you will notice that there are texts in the text box, and then there are questions that follow. So when your students do this activity, they should also do the same thing. Hindi yung basahin nila diretso, pagkatapos tsaka nila sasagutan isa-isa. And the way that it was written is also a guide for you when you discuss this activity in class. So you can use the embedded questions as you discuss the activity. So again, these are the key ideas. So just to stress, no, comets and asteroids, as they orbit around the sun, fragments may break from these objects, or it's possible that your asteroid can break into two or many pieces, and from sizes ranging from the size of sand or to very big objects or sizes like boulders. Now, these fragments are called meteoroids. Now, meteoroids is actually a very general term. So we also refer to rock fragments coming from the moon, Mars, and other planets as meteoroids. So basically, meteoroids is a meteoroid is a rock fragment from any of the celestial objects: comets, asteroids, moon, planets. Now, when the meteoroid burns, as it enters Earth's atmosphere, we will observe what we call a meteor, and pwede rin siya maging meteor shower kung marami sila, and these are actually light phenomena. And when the meteoroid, so sometimes it's possible that the whole meteoroid burns in the Earth's atmosphere, and you don't get any fragment landing on Earth's surface. That can happen. And in the case that there are fragments that survived, and when they reach Earth, we call that those objects as meteorites. So, at yun yung purpose nitong diagram na ito. It's also still part of the activity. So the students are supposed to place legends on where each of these things can be found or observed. So again, no, I drew here several circles to show or represent the meteoroid. If they place it there, it's okay, as long as in the diagram, it's in the outer space region. So pag medyo itong circle ay napunta, sabihin natin dito sa crust, mali na yon. Ibig sabihin, hindi nila naintindihan yung part na yon. And then the meteoroid will now cross the atmosphere. So dito natin ma-observe yung meteor or meteor shower. If you browse through the materials, you will see there that in the case of a meteor shower happens because remember that our asteroids and comets, they also have orbits. And sometimes when, or rather not sometimes, but Earth, as it goes around the sun, the orbits would, the Earth will pass through the orbit of the comet. So, may naiiwan silang tail or may naiiwan silang fragments, and these small fragments, again, these are meteoroids. So, as Earth orbits around the sun, yung fragments na yon dumadaan din sa Earth's atmosphere. And when this happens, we see a lot of meteors, and that's the meteor shower. In fact, if you go back to the learner's materials, there's a table there showing some of the common meteor showers that we have. So these happen every year because, remember, as we orbit, so when we orbit the sun, that's 1 year, di ba? So it happens every year until the time na maubos na yung fragments na yun. But then, that's a very long time. Alright, so the last activity is Module 3. This is, Activity 3. It's a research activity. Similar to, I think there was a similar activity in grade 7 about superstitions as well. So again, one of the reasons why comets, meteors, and asteroids topic was included in the grade 8 curriculum is for students to realize that some of, these superstitions, they don't have scientific basis. Pero syempre, hindi natin agad sasabihin sa kanila yon. That's something they need to find out for themselves. Now, the focus of the activity is for students to learn how to research for information. So, in the teaching guide, you'll see there that there are tips on where they can do research. So, usually it's the library. If you have internet access, then that's good. And as Sir June mentioned earlier, whenever your students make use of a certain reference, it is important that they know how to cite it. And it's an important skill that we can teach our students. Citing references correctly. And aside from that, it also promotes intellectual honesty. Di po ba? So let's go look at the sample rubrics. This is just a sample. You can change the criteria and the percentage. But as you can see, the main criterion or things that we should look for when our students do research is we look at the quality. Did they present enough evidence? And then the activity also requires them to propose actions on how to address superstitions that are prevailing either sa family nila or sa circle of friends, and what they can do. Doable actions. And last is group work. So this is very important because when we talk about research, the trend nowadays is you do research in collaboration. So we want to teach our students that when we do research, it's not about just you and what you know, but what everyone gets to know, and we share it because that's how things work also in the scientific community. Okay? Yes, yung mga superstitions on eclipses were covered in grade 7. So, dito sa grade 8, ganun din, no? Pag-uusapan din. Kasi sabi ng iba, pag meron daw nakita kang comet, ibig sabihin, merong delubyong darating. So, malalaman nila na parang malayo naman yata, no? Na kunyari, nadulas ka, dahil may nakita kang comet na nasa langit. Medyo malayo yun. Okay? So, those are the activities. Now, this pre-post test is a suggested pre-post test that you can do with your students. If you can see here, there are so many characteristics there. So, let's read the instructions. In this test, we've listed 20 characteristics, and these characteristics can be characteristic of either a comet or an asteroid, or pwedeng common siya sa dalawa, or pwedeng common dun sa tatlo. So what they have to do is to write the number corresponding to the characteristic in the appropriate location on the Venn diagram. So there's the Venn diagram. So you have to actually remind your students how the Venn diagram works if they have forgotten. So it's a math concept, but you can also use it as a way to see if the students can actually pinpoint similarities and differences. So here in the middle, the characteristics that they will place here are the characteristics that are common to the three: comet, asteroid, and meteor. Yung nandito, common lang sa comet. Okay, hindi pala nakita, no? So dito, sa gitna, common dun sa comet, asteroid, and meteor. While here, common sa comet and meteor. And then here, common sa asteroid and sa meteor. Here, comet and asteroid. And if it's here, it's a characteristic exclusive to your comet. Or, in this case, a characteristic that is exclusive to an asteroid. Okay? So, going back to the previous slide, you don't have to give all these 20 characteristics. If you think this is too much for your students, you can just choose which characteristics to include. And then maybe you can reserve the other items for another test if you want. So this is just another way of presenting your questions. It doesn't always have to be true or false, multiple choice, or essay type. You can also do this. So, yan. Ito yung answer key. So let's just try to look at one. So, comet. Characteristics 1, 3, and 7. Tingnan natin, ano ba yung 1, 3, and 7? Number 1, it forms a tail as it approaches the sun. It's an icy object. And yung 7 comes from the Oort cloud. Now, please remember, I just placed these here. But when you give the test, you shouldn't place these names there. Otherwise, you've already given the answer. Okay? So, and that completes our presentation. Ay, nako. Pahabol na slide. So, okay. So, makikita natin, no, aside from the astronomy storyline, if we go back to grade 6 and grade 7 and how the things we've learned in the previous grades connect to grade 8, ganyan po magiging itsura niya. So, we've mentioned earlier that since when asteroids or comets hit Earth, they also bring with them some metals and minerals. An example is iridium for the case of asteroids. And these are important especially in the mining industry. Lately, the newest trend that they are exploring in the mining industry, not yet here in the Philippines but in other countries, is asteroid mining. So they're thinking of launching probes and launching equipment that can land on an asteroid and mine the asteroids for its metals. So maybe someday we'll have that too. Okay? So, kung may questions po tayo, ay, pwede na po tayo magtanong.
Okay. Okay na po, Miss Pia?
Yes, Miss Dus. Okay na po.
Okay. Now, thanks everyone. Though we've gone over time, you stayed with us. Okay. So, anyway, for the Q&A portion, all the questions that were recorded here were answered by Sir June already. Now, in case you have more questions, kindly type in your questions, and I guess we had an agreement with Miss Celia. Please email Miss Celia. She's going to type her email address. Miss Celia, can you do that, please, in our chat window? so that they can submit the questions and then we can answer them, okay, through email also. And then,
Actually,
so we would like to, yes, Miss Celia?
it's better, Dulce. Yes, actually, it's
Yes.
better if they will write those questions in the discussion thread reserved for the grade 8 science, rather than emailing them to
Okay.
me, so that others can see as well. Later on,
Okay.
you can show
Did you
them
get-
the link to the discussion thread.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Celia. I guess you have, you got what she said. Okay, so shall we go now to the filling up of the feedback form? Nandyan na po ba? Mr. John? You have the feedback form? Okay,
It's on,
we are
it's,
uploading?
We're loading the link now.
Yes, we're loading the link. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's on your screen in the middle column. All right. Oh, please answer, dear attendees. Please answer the survey. We need your feedback, and I guess we need also your reactions. Okay, just type them in there in the chat window. It's okay, unless there are more things that we need to tackle. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, for actively participating, especially those also who have typed in their questions. Okay, thank you, Sir June, for answering the questions. Thank you, Ma'am Pia. You have we understand you have just flown in from Canada, but you made it. Okay, and you were able to join us. Okay, thank you, each and every one of you. We'd like to remind you our next webinar will be in September 27. That's also a Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. And I would like to inform you that this will be a sharing of the implementation experiences of our teachers in the field. Quite a number already have volunteered to share their experiences. In case you are interested to share also your experience, just let us know. You can inform us via Kasama or through our email addresses, okay? And then, or through the website, no? You can open the website also of UP NISMED kung hindi nyo talaga ma-access pa yung website ng iba, or you are not yet members of Kasama. Why don't you become members? Yes.
Dulce?
Yes.
Yes, I also pasted on the chat pod my email address, so that if they are interested
Okay.
to share either Q1 or Q2 experiences, they can email me, so we can discuss the details.
Okay, that's what we said earlier, no? Miss Celia has typed her email address in the chat window. Okay, kindly take note of that. And then, do we still need some more things? Yeah, we would like to remind you also of our national conference. It's already towards the end of August. Okay, so please take note. Since we really don't have that much time, you can open our NISMED website or our website. That's http://nismed2013.nismed.upd.edu.ph. Okay. So congratulations to our presenters, Sir June, Miss Pia, our dear participants who stayed with us. Thanks for joining, and see you online during the next webinar. Okay, some more things, Miss Celia?
That's it. So we just posted this page to let everyone know that there are new resources on K-12 in science and math in Kasama Teachers. So you see the links are in blue, so you can actually click on the links to get to the page. So our links are all live. Pag kinlik nyo po yun, dadali na kaagad kayo doon.
Okay. So thank you very much. So Cavite National Science High School, thank you. Medyo malaki ang grupo nyo, ano? Salamat sa pag-join. Okay, to the NISMED staff also who have been of great help, no, who are still with us here. Thank you very much, and see you online in Kasama, okay, or in the next webinar. Okay, take care, especially those who are still drenched in floodwaters, but they were able to connect with us. Okay. Oh, happy weekend, sabi ni Mr. Anthony. Thank you also.
Thank you, Dulce, for hosting today's webinar. And thanks to John for all the technical assistance.
Yes, thank you, John.
And we also would like to thank Intel. Thank you, Intel Education, for providing us this use of their Adobe webinar platform.